Put my chick inside some Louis and some Valentino. Put my bro inside some Gucci and some Moschino. They want my money like it's a casino.
Man like Sef.
What are you saying, man? You good?
Yeah, I'm blessed, my bro. How are you?
Thanks for coming down. I wanted to bring you down so you could talk about your journey and how you became a successful trader in the Forex industry. Talk to me about who you are, your upbringing, and how you became who you are today.
So, I'm Sef. I'm from Birmingham, 24 years old. I like to class myself as an investor that specializes in the foreign exchange market. Literally grew up in Birmingham from like an area near Erdington. So I kind of grew up within Erdington, which you probably have heard of, which a lot of people have. Pretty standard upbringing, to be fair. Parents together, lived together, went to like a standard school and literally just carried on from there, really. Went through school as normal, done okay in like GCSEs and whatever, just done your standard like C's, a B here and there. And then literally went to college. But when I went to college, I was literally I studied hospitality. So I studied hospitality in college, which is random. So like all my friends and whatnot went to a local college, which is Sutton College. I just done like sports or whatever at that college. But I decided to go to like and do hospitality for some weird reason. Don't know why. At the moment, at that time, I thought, okay, cool. Why not? Let's do this. In the meantime, whilst at college, I was kind of looking at charts, just watching videos, and just looking at different sort of investments, whether it be the foreign exchange market, whether it be stocks or whatever really, and just ran with it from there. So I kind of started at 16, whilst at college, and then just literally ran with it from there.
Yeah, no, that's smooth. And one thing I noticed about when people introduce themselves, have you noticed that on social media, Forex trading has a bad name? So like, I feel like even some people are even scared to say, they don't even say about Forex. They say, I'm a currency trader. Like you said, you specialize. I'm gonna start using that one. I specialize in the currency market. Why do you think that is? What do you think it's because of other groups like IML? Or
bang on. I think, like you say, groups like IML, but I think social media plays a big part. And I think people just go onto social media, they see foreign exchange market or they see FX and automatically think signals, follow my signals, buy my signals, and I'm going to turn you into a millionaire overnight, which is give like the foreign exchange sector, in a sense, like a bad name, bad stigma around it, which is disappointing, to be honest with you, because we know as traders or people that trade the market know what it can do and what you need to do to get there. Whereas like social media would just portray it as a get rich quick scheme. So I think that's why a lot of people like myself won't say they're an FX trader, literally. But yeah.
So what, then from 16, it was like trading way or no way type of thing? Yeah,
and it is the trading way or no way. Like, this might sound mad, but like, I got a friend called Miles, MMA fighter, and like, we always talk about the path to success. He might have taken it to like an extremes in these terms, but he's like, he had a saying called success or suicide. Obviously, don't kill yourself or whatever. But the meaning behind it is just we need to make it, or there's no point being here, in a sense. So in order to do that, we just have to do everything that we can do to put us on that platform to make it, in a sense.
How would you say you started learning FX and getting into it? A lot of people recommend YouTube. Me personally, I believe to trade FX, you need to pay for a course. Like, no questions asked. But what do you think, and how did you learn? Stages?
So me beginning stages, to be honest with you, I fell into it through social media. So you'd see traders or whatnot, and you'd be like, oh, that lifestyle looks good. Back then, I didn't know if they were legit, whether they weren't, etc., etc. So when I'm looking at that, just doing research, and then what did I do? I looked at like YouTube videos and whatnot. So I just type in like Forex trading on YouTube. You'd have some crazy, looking back now, but back then I didn't know what was real, what was fake, like who's good, who's bad, etc., etc. I just watched some random videos. They'd be like, like a guy would be like, I just made 100K in 2 minutes, and you're looking like mad. But when you look back now, you're thinking, cap. But yeah, so literally, so another part of that whilst looking at YouTube and whatever, is that I've got family in Essex. 'Cause I'm originally from London in Walthamstow, so we used to go down to see them. And on the way down there was in Essex, like where my uncle lives. And basically there's a guy that has like madhouse. Always wonder what he'd done. Whatever. We must have stopped off, spoke. Turned out he's a stockbroker. Obviously it's not the same, but it's kind of within that industry. So always maintained contact with him and had him as sort of a mentor from young, probably about 18. Me as Jack the lad, as I'm like a young boy thinking I'm the man, I know how to trade, blah, blah, blah. Probably made like 100 quid. Said to him, yeah, I'll do this, do that. He was like, okay, mate, ready to tear. But like I was saying, kind of had him as a mentor on that journey. But then also I've done like endless amount of courses. Like I'll tell you, like endless amount of courses, whether that's in Manchester, whether that's in Birmingham, whether that's in London. I've done endless amount of courses, and you don't know at the stage like what's real, what's fake. So imagine I've done a course in London, and I thought, yeah, this is legit. It was only £500. It was only at 500. I must have went to one show, one of my business partners, and come to like £500. We both sat next to each other. We was like, should we do it? Might as well. We think we're the men. We think we're traders anyway. So let's just do it and just enhance our knowledge. Must have got there. Everything's good. Overlooking the River Thames. Everything's perfect. We're thinking, yeah, sounds wicked. Sounds wicked. Got to the end of the course now. He's like, yeah, you're gonna need to pay £10,000 a month membership. Like £10,000 a month for membership. Me and my boy looking at each other like, we need to do it. We need to do it. We're looking at each other like, we need to do it. We need to do it. So I'm saying to him, all right, cool. These times I can't really afford £10,000 a month because that's a lot of money, especially at the ages like, we were sort of like 17, 18, I think it was around those ages. We're looking at each other, yeah, we need to do it. We both then just ring our parents. We're like, we want to do it. They're like, are you sure? We're like, yeah. And then they were like, nah, we're not doing it. So it's like, it's a blessing in disguise that they said no in a sense. So we left that course, kind of fuming on the way home, thinking, oh, I wish we could have done that because we could have been millionaires.
So when you say from the course, like he was convincing?
Yeah, like everything was convinced. Because back then, I think you don't really know real from fake. You don't know. All you see is the glory and the reward at the end of it. So you're like, nah, we need to do it. Like, we need to do it no matter what. Just to change the lives around or whatever. And yeah, literally left angry and then just thought, you know what? It's a blessing in disguise because it would have turned out to be fake. And now looking back at that course, it's like, I'm so glad.
Basic knowledge.
It's like, just go on Baby Pips or just Google and just like, it's just that, like, it's just, you can do that. But yeah, but like, when you was asking me, does somebody need to do a course to kind of be successful within the foreign exchange market? I do agree with you. I do think yes, 100% yes, because there's too much information out there, whether that's on Google, whether that's on YouTube. There is too much information out there for you to differentiate what's real and what's fake out there. And because of the sort of profits you can make within the markets, a lot of people kind of use that in a bad way, just to entice people in, take the money, and then you're left thinking, the industry's fake, or you can't make money from this industry. And it's just, yeah, but 100% you have to go with a trusted learning provider, 100%.
Yeah. I think on my journey, I clocked what was real from fake early because if you remember binary options.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into it. I was young, 15. I must have faked my age on this broker. I don't know if you know of Elijah Oyefezo.
Yeah.
Lambos.
Lifestyle.
Something me in. But luckily I got my money back because the stockbroker, I must have been like, So I did signals, all of them lost. I had some P's in there, so I wanted to withdraw it, and they were saying, you need to be 18. I was like, I lost my driving license. Like 2 years. In 2 years, I'll come back. In 2 years, I would have been 18. And then I think he clocked on and he said, you know what, let's refund you because it's illegal for us to have you on the platform.
Even have you on the platform, sort of thing.
So
that's mad.
I luckily got through that one, but from there, early, I kind of clocked what was fake from real. That's my journey into it.
Nah, that's sick, and it's good that you could see what's real from fake, or fake from real at an early age, because there's still people now at like 20, 24, 25 that still come up to me like, yes, Sef, I've got this guy, look at him, blah, 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 he's got this, he's got that. And then Yeah, it's not good, man.
No, word. When would you say was the age that things started taking off for you?
Yeah, good question. So I would say about 19, 20, I think that's when I thought, yeah, this is it. This is when I was consistent. And you look at that, you're thinking that 3 or 4 years into your journey, and which is realistic. So like a lot of people think it's overnight success, you're gonna get rich quick, when realistically, no. So I'd probably say around 1920. It was not like the year 1920, but like age 19 or 20.
1920.
That really started going straight.
No, that makes sense. So what would you say, in terms of pairs now, what would you say you focus on? And I'm guessing it might have changed over the years. Do you believe in multiple pairs, or do you focus on just one specific?
Good question. So even on our course, we talk about just focus on 1 to 3 pairs. This is what we talk about. Focus on 1 to 3 pairs, because a lot of people get caught up in trying to master like 15 pairs, when realistically you don't. All you need to do is focus and nail down at least 1 to 3 pairs and know them at the back of your hand, and just know its movements, because the charts will just repeat itself year on year on year. So you'll know every movement, you know when it likes to turn, what point, what quarter in the year that it likes to do a reversal or whatever. So like I honestly just tell people to focus on 1 to 3. I focus on 4. Which is AUD JPY, GBP AUD, GBP JPY, and Euro CAD. I do have 5th, but 5th in my diary, which I keep, is just random. So like, if two out of those 4 are doing well and they are having a lot of movement, or if 2 are kind of dry, I'll just go into a random one, whether that would be oil, whether that would be gold, whether that be whatever. So I kind of just like to focus on those ones and then run with it, really.
Yeah, out of those you mentioned, for me it's pound yen and gold. I focus on. Okay. Out of those 4, do you have any favourites? You feel like the momentum's there or the money's there?
Yeah, I think GBP JPY is my most successful pair every year. When I look back at my log, every year it's just always my most successful pair. That's one pair that I just know at the back of my hand, you know its movements. And people say it's quite volatile. It is volatile compared to like your Euro, USDs, whatever. But when you know its movements, it's kind of simple to trade. And gold's always similar, to be fair. Gold, when it moves, it moves. So if you catch that wave, then you're laughing. So yeah, same with oil as well. When oil moves, it moves. So yeah, literally. Okay,
and then in terms of sessions, are you a London Open trader, New York Open, across Asia? Like what's
London session specifically, to be honest with you. So like when I trade, always London session. Like obviously I trade Japanese yen, and I do understand like the Asia session, it's going to move as well. So like your TPs are going to be hit or your SLs are going to be hit throughout the night. I do understand that. But me focused here predominantly the London session, because when I look at charts, especially like GBP JPY, I always notice when it wants to move, the 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. candle, that really sets it up for the day. So you kind of know what direction that price wants to go into or what it's trying to do for that day. And I think that candle, the 2-hour candle, or even though just in between those hours anyway, is very vital, and that will show you a lot. Not all the time it's going to happen, because the chart's on 100%. We know that. We just try and get the highest probability. But especially that time frame there, in between those hours, there's a lot of movement for you, and that keeps you away from your SL, so you can't complain.
Cool. And would you say, so with London session, do you ever find that, even me as a trader as well, I trade London session 6 a.m. Do you find, balancing your work-life schedule and with even your social life as well, so having to go to bed early to wake up in time, how do you balance that?
Do you know what it is? I think it just comes from sacrifice. So I think throughout the early years, you sacrifice a lot, and you just kind of, especially when I was starting out, you kind of don't really, you have friendships, but you don't really have friendships like that where you kind of just focused, you got your routine, and I think you have to do that. So you have to master that routine in order to be successful. Once you master your routine, then everything else will just follow. So everything else just falls into place. So I need to check the closure at 10 p.m. You know that, but you know that you've got to be up early at like 5:30, 6 to make sure you get that entry right, which is fine. And then I always say, I know we don't live technically in Europe, but you've always can have a nap in the day if you need a nap in the day. So like even if you get up early, you can always have like a half an hour power nap within the day. And then so literally.
That's true. And you mentioned hitting TPs over the night. So what, would you say you're more of a swing trader? Like what? What time frames are you trading?
Yeah, I class myself really as a swing trader. So like my trades were coming anywhere between a few hours to, on average, my average win takes about 2 to 3 days. So it's a couple of days. So it's not like I'm not really a scalper. I'm not like short term in and out to catch a few pips. My trades are kind of over like a day or two. Depends on the news as well. So sometimes you can enter and you're like, by lunch, you're like, oh, hit my TP, great day. But yeah, so I just try and normally average trades probably about 100 to 200 pips. So that's going to take a couple of days anyway. So, but obviously sometimes it's shorter. It just depends what the market gives you. We never force anything. So we just try and get whatever the market gives us.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But talk to me more about Project Forex. Talk to me more about that, why you started it. And
so Project Forex was started with me and my business partner, or ex-business partner now. That was the one who started the journey with. We kind of just...
Oh, from the courses?
Yeah, from those courses. We started the journey together, knew each other from like knee high. Always have love for him. And it's just like, we started this journey and we thought, okay, cool. We're kind of just doing our thing now. We're kind of, okay, cool. We're steady. We're doing our thing, whatever. And we used to have like friends or family just say, oh, can you teach me? Can you teach me? So we're just like, okay, cool. Just come to the office or whatever. Well, no. Didn't even say come to the office. We didn't even have an office at these stages. It was like, come to Zave's house, and Zave was like, let's just go into his back room and we just teach him a thing or two. There was no structure. It was just pure raw charts, which looking back was good because people just knew charts, but it's kind of hard to explain to them, like talking about macroeconomics or microeconomics. It was just mad. It was mad looking back at it. But in a nutshell, people kept coming. They'd recommend us to other family members. You'd be like, okay, cool. At this point, we're like, we might as well make this into a business now. So we set it up, got a little office space, tiny. You could probably fit like 2 or 3 of these sofas in there. It was tiny. Literally got some desks off eBay, put whiteboards up, and we said, okay, cool, let's just start. And that's it. And we always said to each other, we're never really going to advertise it. We don't need to advertise it because we don't want to be known for being those people that are not traders. They're selling courses. That was never our objective. So that's why you'll never see us market anything or put anything out there. We say, if people want to learn to trade, they know we're here. They know we're real. Knock on our door, we'll open the door. You're more than welcome to come in. Then since then, it just grew and grew. Word of mouth is our biggest seller. So like people just recommend us to everybody, and you will see online, like we never have no fake reviews. So even if you go on like Facebook or Yelp reviews, everything's 5-star, and we don't push people to do reviews. That's off their own back. So it's like, that's why I say again, we don't need to advertise, and like we don't push it because that's not our main income. It's just we're trying to help people. So that's like we're coming up to our 5th birthday on the 27th. So that's why on that we're going to drop our courses until January just to give people an opportunity. But that leads into like the new project that I'm starting, which is so this project is linked to Project Forex, but it's just called Project Capital. Now, Project Capital is literally going to be like a private equity house in a sense, where we're going to fund people. So anybody that's done our course, we want to give them a pathway after the course. So I think one of the biggest things for people that have done courses is that, okay, cool, I paid X amount for a course, but what do I do once I finished it? How am I going to fund my account? And it's like, we know that you got to do the same thing on a £1,000 account size that you got to do on a £100,000 account size. The only thing that's different is psychologically it's going to be different because that's a lot of weight to carry on your shoulders. But everything else, your analysis, working out your PIP, everything's going to be the same, literally. So that's why we kind of said, okay, let's set up this company, and that's going to provide people that have done our courses in a sense, accounts for them to trade, whether that be from like £5,000 up to £100,000 plus to whatever, through investors and whatnot. And they'll just manage these accounts. They'll take the percentages, we'll take ours. And just gives people an opportunity to get that freedom that they want, and then utilize the skill that they have on an account that's worth trading in a sense.
No, most definitely. What would you say is one thing that many students run into, like mistakes or problems while teaching them? You must have realized a few.
Yeah, so I think, good question. So like problems and mistakes, I think the biggest mistake is not necessarily a skill. I think the biggest mistake is that people think that it's just literally analysing the chart. And I say it's a mistake because they don't know, but we kind of have to explain that the majority of it is to do with psychology. Literally. Like 100%. Like as soon as a student walks through the door, I know whether you're going to be successful or whether you're not.
Okay.
And that's literally just based on their mentality. So a lot of people think, okay, cool, we can skip, because our course is broken down into 3 days. We can skip day one, which is all to do like with the theory, the psychological factors behind it, risk management, etc. They think, okay, I don't really want to concentrate for this day. I just want to get on my laptop and do chart work, which is nothing wrong with that, because I understand that that's what you do want to do, and that will be the end goal. But there's a process towards that end goal. And I think,
literally psychology. I definitely agree with that, because it's hesitation.
Yeah.
There's not trusting analysis.
Bang on.
There's so many things that comes to it, and they say people say analysis, trout work is only like 10%.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Of the profits really, because there's a lot of weight to handle. Especially there's difference between looking at back testing or past. Like previous day and live in the markets.
It's true.
It's just a big difference.
And I think that's the biggest like kind of fear people have, and I think the biggest thing to overcome is hitting that place bid or whatever, or to place the trade. That's the biggest thing to overcome. So like a lot of people, like you say, when they're trading a demo account, like your mind's like a tortoise in a sense. Then when you want to place a live account, your mind's racing like a horse race, like a racehorse, sorry. And it's just doing numbers, and you're just like.
I think when it comes to placing trades on a live account, it's been able to accept losses and understand it's okay. I feel like a lot of people don't want to try come into the game and try and make 100% profits. But the analogy I give them is losses is like the cost of doing business, See it as like a business has revenue and costs and net profit. So the losses, that's just a part of the game. But I feel like people are scared to lose money, but they want to make all this.
You are literally bang, and I think losses is one thing that people, like you say, are scared of. But we say you have to embrace your losses, because that's the only way you're gonna learn. Because if you just win, then how are you gonna learn?
Exactly.
Like you're not gonna learn anything by just winning and winning. You're just gonna get cocky, and your confidence is gonna grow, which is good in a sense. But you have to lose in order to win, in my opinion, anyway. So like when you analysing the losses that you've made, okay, you take a step back. Like even with our students, when they lose, we do feel down, don't get me wrong, but all we do is say, okay, cool, send over your work to us, we'll go through it together, whether that's on the Skype or in person. Even when I look at my own trades and I lose, I have to look and say, okay, cool, what did I do wrong? What could I do better? What are the good parts that I can take out of this trade as well? Because every loss is not 100% negative. There's still positives that you can take out of it. And I just think, you have to embrace the losses, and you have to be realistic. You can have low months, but then your high months will outweigh those losses anyway. So you might have a losing month and you think, oh, is this for me? The next month you might come with a 20% ROI to wipe out all those losses, and you're like,
there you go.
Maybe it is. And it's just the highs of lows, and I think that's what people don't see and people don't understand. So like even on our course now, we have a section on our course which is called Trading Lows and How to Overcome Them. Just so people know that it's not going to be just plain sailing. You're going to have lows, and ultimately you will overcome them. It's just about whether mentally you can deal with it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, do you think someone can trade Forex as an early income, or do you think that's unwise, they should develop elsewhere, or what do you think about that?
Good question. Yes, I do think they can. I really do think they can. The reason I say they can is because of the sort of returns that you can get on it. Obviously, you do need a diverse portfolio in general. So you can look at whatever houses, crypto, whatever, just diverse your portfolio. But yes, I do think you can solely trade FX as an income, because like you look at some returns that you can do, even if you just do, let's say 10% a month, that's 120% in a year. That's like 120 times what the banks give you.
Literally.
So it's like, that's ridiculous. So I think you can do, but you just need the capital, which is the hardest thing when you come in. Like I said, the hardest things is one, getting the capital, and two, placing a trade.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like 100%, yeah, defo. I think.
You know what? You see, I slightly disagree in the sense that, you can trade Forex alone, but I do feel like multiple sources does help and relieve that stress. So for you, for example, you got the course. So let's say you have a bad month, the course can make up for that, and you can still live the lifestyle and do what you want to do. Obviously, I don't believe in doing everything at once because
I get
a mess. But I feel like, especially if you're young, focus on Forex. But I feel like as you grow older, and we'll get onto this later, investing money elsewhere and have other things going on. But moving on from that, what do you do with your profits? Is there any big boy things you bought, or what do you invest in? How do you?
Cool. So profits, like we always say to our students, just you need to spend some of your profits to know that, okay, cool, this is what it's actually real. Like the FX market is giving me this, whatever. I think I always say to people, so don't go stupid with your profits though. Don't be like, leave yourself dry. So what I do with my profits is I'll always put it aside really and truly. So anything that I make from FX, I just pull it aside and then I'll reinvest it into other things. I've made some stupid decisions on purchases, buy little things, whether that's investing in like cryptos, whether that's investing in jewelry, whether that's, well, it's not investing or just buying cars or whatever. I like to do little things or go on holidays or just trying to enjoy my life as much as I can with the profits, but while still putting money down so that I can still grow it. And then if I need to top up my account to the next level that I want to go to, then I can just go into, say, this savings account or take my money out of this and then top up my account and go to that next level.
Yeah, I feel like there's two types of traders in terms of risk management. There's those that are the 1% gang. I think I'm part of that, 1% per trade or whatever. And then there's others where it's like, it's flipping, you're risking 10 to 20% on little trades, but just you're trying to go for that big. What do you think about, what side are you on, and what do you think about that?
I'm on the lower end, so like I only risk 2%. 1 to 2% just depends. It depends on what I'm looking at, and the market conditions as well, especially. But usually just risk 2% of the account. People would like to do like you say, the 20% and get the big flips, but I always say there's no longevity in that, because you might risk it and you might flip it at one time. Then the next time you lose, then you flip it again, then you end up just going like this, and then you're just breaking even, and you're doing all this flipping, going through all this stress in your head for what? To kind of break even or make a little bit of profit. Sometimes you might make like the mad thing profit, but realistically it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. But yeah, I'm definitely on that 2% kind of slow growth sort of thing. When you, especially with risk management, because you don't want to wipe yourself clean.
Word. And you mentioned how you started taking it seriously from 1920. Would you say you're using the same strategy till today, or has it gone over like little improvements, The basis
of it is still the same, but little things chop and change. Like you kind of adapt, you kind of change. So like those ages, I was really sort of a longer term trader where I wouldn't even use like 2-hour time frames or 1-hour time frames. But I kind of just refine my trading as I've got older, to be honest with you, to make sure that it's less work and it's just more chilled, it's more relaxed sort of trading. Otherwise, I'll still be stressing. I'll be thinking, okay, I've got to wait this X amount of time for this long-term trade to come in and whatnot.
Can you see yourself trading for the rest of your life?
Good question, that is.
Because there is a lot of stress comes with it every morning, relying on that for your monthly income. Let's say you have a mortgage, a family, kids. But then again, there is growing traders out there. There's traders, George Soros, there's lots of traders out there at big age, 57, 60. So what do you think about trading as a...
My honest answer is no. I can't see myself. And that's just my honest answer. The reason being, like you're saying, because it's a lot to do with psychology. I think at some point your brain's going to need a rest. And you just need to just kind of relax. And you would have already made enough capital. You would have already put that into other stuff that's less stressful and can grow your account same way. Like we talk about the fund, so like the fund's more for generational wealth. So like that, it will benefit myself, but that'll benefit my kids who potentially could take that on and whatever in the future. But yeah, I don't know what is the exact age I'll stop, but definitely I can't see myself trading past maybe 40, I reckon. Past where I think I would have had enough of it, I would have done my thing, then I would be investing in other things by then.
Yeah, I think you might have had many other businesses set up as well. So and it just become a point of, I can live off this.
But literally, and then you'll always have like companies that are trading for you. You just don't have to do the actual work behind it, where you got to do your whole analysis and whatever. You're already going to have your team there that are already doing this, and you just provide the capital.
Yeah. What would you say is the truth that people don't know about being a full-time trader?
I think it's not as easy as it looks. I think the biggest thing is that it looks glorious, and sometimes it is glorious, but you can be stressed, you can have down days, you can be like, just feel like sort of down, which comes back to psychology again. And I think it's not all sunshine and rainbows, where from the outside perspective it could look like that. You still have to get up early, you still have to do your analysis, you still have to do your work, but once you do that, you do have the freedom, which is good. But I think,
literally. No, that definitely makes sense. I feel like what they see online is very different to how it is in real life.
Yeah, that's
so they see like the lifestyle, or they see all the jewels and all the nice stuff.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of skip and think, you know what? Yeah, let me do this without not knowing behind the scenes.
And that's the thing. I think it's easy come as well, and that's the most frustrating thing for me. Being within the industry is when people come in and they think it's gonna happen overnight. They think like all this that I've got now, or what I've achieved from the markets or from whatever, is overnight, because they see like a baby face, but then realistically I'm 24 now, so that's 8 years deep within the industry, and that's a lot of hours that I've put in, that's a lot of chart time that I've put in. Whereas people will come at like the age of 26 at that point in their life where they're thinking, I need to nail down something and I need to make it right now. And you have to be real with yourself and say to them, and like, it's not gonna happen overnight. Like anybody that does our course, we don't say you're gonna walk off our course and you're gonna be the best trader, you're gonna be living that Wolf of Wall Street lifestyle straight away. It's not possible. Being realistically, you've got to put the hours in, you've got to get that chart time, 100% get that chart time. But yeah.
No, that definitely does make sense. Recently, Mark Zuckerberg, he announced the Metaverse. It's basically this Ready Player One type vibes. I don't know if you watched that film. But it's all about the VR headsets, living in the online space. What do you think of that? And what's your opinion? Have you seen the Metaverse?
I haven't seen it. But I know what you're on about. So what is he doing? He's
trying to like slowly introduce it to the world.
Okay.
So he's trying to make everything online, digital.
Yeah, I think that is the way forward, to be fair. Like digital is the way forward, and I think that's going to be the next boom. And I think the older generation, in my opinion, can't accept that. And I think the biggest thing you'll see that with as well, like you talk about like the VR headsets and etc. But the biggest thing you see that with is with cryptocurrency. So you'll see the divide in people sort of our generation versus the older generation, where their older generation are like, no, they can't come to terms with it, they can't accept it. But you have to look back at little things like cash, like credit cards, like you look at contactless now, like who would have thought you can pay off your watch, you can pay off your flipping phone or whatever. But that's the way the world is going, and yeah, 100% I do think it is the future.
Yeah. So then, talking of other asset classes, there's crypto, there's property businesses as well. Okay, first of all, what do you think of property? Is that something you're ever looking or you may be into already, or do you prefer? So what do you think of?
So in regards to property, something that I've already been into, already invested in, done that. I think property is good. When you look at it based on ROI versus like the FX market or other sort of investment classes, it doesn't look as luxury, which I do understand. And it's like, I just see it as a slow burner. Now, property is a slow burner, and that is definitely generational wealth. That is something that you're not going to see the benefits of until maybe you retire or sadly pass away. Then your kids take it on, and then they think, okay, this is what I've got, this is what I can work with, etc., etc. I always say there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just more of a slow burner. But yeah, in the game, not currently got any property that's available, whatever. But yeah, I've worked on projects and whatever. But yeah.
And then, what do you think of stocks? What about stocks?
Stocks, I'm pretty similar with stocks. I think it's good to have a diverse portfolio. So if you've got like stocks, property, FX, whatever, I think stocks are good. To me, again, slow burner, more for the future. So you look at people use stocks like, let's just say S&P 500, etc., for retirement funds. So that's like something that you can put your money into, and like there's that term, if you put X amount a year into the S&P 500, you'd have $1 million in like 40 years, whatever, which is good. But again, slow burner for me. Definitely a retirement pot for myself, really and truly.
Literally. And then finally, crypto. What's your thoughts on that? Are you invested? Like, what do you think of them?
Crypto for me is the future. It is the future. I have a few friends that don't believe it, and I know a few people that don't believe in it. But I just think people don't want to accept it. But it is the future, and I'm a big believer in it. I'm invested in it myself. So honestly, I do think crypto definitely the future, and I think you can't be blind to it. I think you need to invest now, even if it's not the future, but even if it's for like this 10-year period, you might as well make the most of it for that period. But I do think it will be the next long term, like I was saying to you, with contactless payments, cash eventually won't be around, and I think that's going to be that thing that steps in for the cash. I think there's so much smart technology behind it, which is very interesting. Very interesting.
How would you say, like, it's been just like adapting to like life post-COVID and just again?
So COVID was a challenge. It was weird. Did you feel like kind of grateful that, wait a minute, what I do for a living
hasn't really been affected? I mean, maybe the in-person teaching might be, but trading and even online courses. So how did you feel like, oh wow?
So when COVID hit, it was like, didn't believe it at first, and then obviously you get locked down, etc., etc. And you kind of think, okay, cool. Like literally the world stopped. You're thinking people can't work, people are like working from home, but realistically I'm used to like working from home or my office or wherever. And I kind of thought I made the right decision at a young age, sort of investing in the future in the foreign exchange market, because all we need is a Wi-Fi and a laptop. So when COVID hit, it's like nothing's changed. So it's like we're just doing it. Obviously lockdown does have an impact, because you don't want to be on, we always say you don't want to be on your screens 24/7 anyway, which kind of forces you to just look at your screens 24/7 just because you've got nothing else to do, which was good. The markets were moving, so we could make money. So it kind of was a positive thing in a way, even though it was kind of a bit of a downer when you're kind of just stuck in your house, whatever. But from work perspective, it was good. The only negative really, like you say, was the in-person courses. We couldn't run in-person courses, which, okay, that's not a problem, but that's why you always have an alternative, where we had the online courses. So like online course sales shot up, in-person's dropped, but that's just a part of business. So
And I think with a lot of people, right, especially when they trade FX, like you said, you got that work-life balance, and you got to sometimes stay focused. Would you say, in terms of your friendship group, Okay, first of all, are they all like entrepreneurial, would you say? Or with some of them you had to maybe drop along the way just to, make sure you're successful? How was it?
So like with my circle of friends now, like we used to have a big friendship group. We've had to drop many out on the way. So like the circle of friends that I've got, majority of them do have that entrepreneurial mindset. Not all of them do, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there's some that we still see as family, even though they don't have that mindset, because they can bring other values to the table, where we as just like, most of us can just be like business minded, etc., etc. But yeah, so there's like a small circle of us. We kind of like, don't call ourselves like the winner circle, but it's kind of like a winner circles where we all kind of specialize in different things, and we try and come together to do good together in a sense. So we're like, this guy will handle like property, for example, or this guy will be the man at sorting out stocks. We have like a crypto expert that will be able to do that. Somebody that can cook, so it's got like a chef business. We've got like people that do gym work, where they just do like personal training, and we just kind of all come together to kind of just help each other grow in a sense, and we just use our sort of our best like abilities to our best, and then just try and grow as a team. So like we always put money into a pot and then just run with it. So if we have an idea, we say, okay, cool, Kane, you run off with that idea, you handle that, we're here to help, but you hold that and just you handle this section. Shaq, you do this, you handle this section. And yeah, just kind of just work as a team. But as you do say, the circle does get smaller, very small, and you have to cut out a lot of people. As tough as it is, you could be friends with them for like 16 years. Like some I've had long-term friendship with, but they haven't got the right mindset, so you kind of just have to do your own thing. And like I was saying at the start, especially when you're starting out on your grind sort of thing, you kind of have to be selfish, even though you can never be selfish to yourself because you've got to look after yourself anyway. But you just have to have that tunnel vision and just keep going. But yeah.
Yeah. As of and also like to add on to that, I feel like just how I see it is I can keep anyone around me, but as long as they don't interfere with the success, that's like the deciding factor.
Bang on. I think like I was saying, like you just said then, like I'll have some friends that won't interfere with it. They do their own thing. They're still them. They still give you jokes. They still give you banter, and they just break it up from the straight grind, because you do need a kind of a balance in there, just to make sure your sanity is good. But yeah, literally.
Yeah. I wanted to also move on to, I see you shining, jewels. Talk to me about the chain.
Yeah.
When do you get the watch?
Yeah. Watch. Love watches. So like, I've had this piece now probably quite a bit, maybe 18 months, 2 years. Always had watches, always kind of just, if I like a watch, I'll probably just buy it. They hold the value, if not go up in value. And I think...
Have you seen this one increase in value?
Yeah, so this one is gone up around £1,000. So it's not a lot, but it's still...
And it's still an asset that if worse came to worse, you can sell it
bang on
within a few weeks.
With that, so like, yeah, I've got other watches that have maybe gone up like £3,000-4,000, which is good. And like today's market, you see watches doing like £100,000 within the year, which is like it's just crazy. It is crazy. And I think that's another, I always see it as, I love watches. I go for the look first and then investment second. Okay. Which might sound backwards, but it will always work out in your favor because you like the watch, you know you've kind of got an expensive watch on, and you know the value will either hold itself, if not go up. So worst comes to worst, if you want to sell your watch, you think, okay, I want to get a new one. You know you're going to at least get your money back. And then just get into it. And then jewelry, this piece is in memory of my mom, who I lost now 3 years ago. Unfortunately, she had leukemia and sepsis, who was kind of like my idol. She'll always be my world in a sense. Somebody that I looked up to. She was a mentor as well to me, which I highly respect and whatnot. As I say, she had a tough upbringing, raised us, me and my brothers, up the best that she could, and always thankful for that, and to my dad as well. I think they've come from like, so my mom's second generation in the country from Jamaica, so my nan was come from Jamaica. Then my mum was here, done that. My dad, so I'm half Jamaican, half Moroccan. So then my dad come from Morocco when he was like 21, built his foundations, etc., etc. So I always look up to my parents and always believe that they've carried the flag. So my nan carried the flag here, my dad carried the flag here, or the torch, I should say. Then I feel like my mum and my dad have then brought the torch higher, and now, unfortunately, my mum's passed away, but now it's like me and my brother's turn to kind of take the torch even higher, and just to kind of grow her legacy, grow our legacy, and just keep doing the best that we can. And then as we get older, our kids, then the generation after that will just keep flying the flag, and eventually we'll have that sort of generational wealth, which we deserve, and we don't have that sort of white privilege in a sense, where you kind of just have to grind and just have a tunnel vision and just keep going.
Yeah, rest in peace for sure. It's good that you even got to do well for your life just before as well.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing for me. When I lost my mum, I think I had my business set up, I was trading, I was helping her out, I was free. And the biggest thing for me is that what trading brings is freedom. Now, when my mum was ill, in and out of hospital, I'm trading, so I've got a lot of free time. So I was able to go to hospital, take her to appointments, do whatever for her in that sense. So I spent a lot of time with her throughout her last period, like a year or so, however long she was ill for. And I think that's massive and will always stick with me in a sense, because if I was like at work, then I'd be like limited to like what I could do, and then I wouldn't have been able to spend like time with her, etc., etc. And then when all is said and done, all you think about is, I wish I spent more time. So like, if you look at a lot of people, like I was watching an interview with Eddie Hearn when he said his dad passed away. Not his dad, sorry, his granddad passed away. He said it was days like, what is life? Like, should I have spent more time with him, etc., etc. At the end of the day, it's like, yeah, like I always say, family is everything, and family is a big foundation to where you're gonna go next. So you have to do everything to make them proud in a sense.
Talking of family, you know, as you grow older, I'm guessing you're looking to have kids. How do you plan on like, so I believe in passing on not only generational wealth, but they need the knowledge to be able to like do something with it and reasonable. How do you plan on passing that? And you know, is there a thing where you're gonna try to push them in a direction towards business, or let them free roam and see what they mess with?
I think
obviously it's too early for thinking,
of course, but like I thought about it, like everyone would have thought about it, whatever. I think for me is that I would let them free roam as they're young, same way my mum and my dad have. They let me free roam, and you kind of go into little things. They might think I want to be a footballer, or whatever, but eventually they'll get to that age where they think, okay, what do I want to do, etc., etc. They'll always know that they can, whoever my wife will be or whatever, they can potentially do that because my wife does that. And then they'll look at me and say, okay, Dad's an investor, why not look into investments? And if they come to me and say, why not look into investments, I'll support them. In any of their choices, I'll always support them. But they'll have a great mentor in a sense, without sounding cocky, but a great mentor to show them the ropes. But as long as they're not just like gallivanting on the street or whatever, but they have to get life experience. And I think that's why when I have kids as well, I don't want to show them just wealth. That's one thing I don't want to show them, wealth. They need to understand the basics, and I think they need to understand what it is like to go without having a lot, living on less in a sense. They need to understand that, whereas a lot of people have that wealth and then they pass it down, but they don't understand what it's like not starving, but not eating full portions of meal, or having the privileges that they have now, etc., etc. I think they need to understand it, and it's the only way they'll get through life, really and truly. Yeah,
most definitely. Sorry to go backwards, but you see where you're from, right?
Yeah.
Would you say the area's rough? Would you say it's cool? Like, how do you say it was growing up like there?
So originally I was from Wolverhampton, East London. I moved up to Birmingham when I was young. So my mum grew up in Birmingham, but I moved up when I was young. So I had like a 2-bedroom house. So like the area that I grew up in is like just on the outskirts of Erdington. Now Erdington's notorious for rough, whatever. So I was like just on the outskirts of Erdington. So it was never like rich, but it was never like some days, some months, or sometimes we would struggle, and you could see that through my parents, through conversations that they're having. It was never like straightforward. It's only as they got older, is that when it started to get a bit more comfier. But growing up, it was always tough, whether that will be like my dad not working or my mum working, or paying the bills was a struggle, or like I would like sometimes have to just give my parents some money when I'm working, etc., when I was like 16, just to help out, etc. So it was kind of like in the middle sort of thing. But where my school was, so I went to school there. So like all my friends are from like Erdington in a sense. So I've always been in that area. I went to youth clubs within the area. So yeah, we understand it all. And yeah, you just have to make the most of it. So like it is easy to like kind of get dragged into another lifestyle, which is very easy to do. You kind of have to keep your head strong and then just think of the bigger picture. Like you see, like with some of my friends that have either been like murdered or lifed off or whatever. It's like it just puts everything into perspective, and you think the world's a bigger place. I don't want to be just stuck just in this tiny area when I want to travel the world. I don't want to have to catch a plane and think, oh, who am I going to see on this holiday? Or leave my city and think, oh, who am I going to see? Like the world's a big place. I think you just got to open a door and just explore it.
Yeah, talking of traveling, number one, with trading, it's Wi-Fi money. You can literally make money in any other continent with Wi-Fi. Do you ever plan on, moving to a different country? Share what you can afford to share, but...
Yeah. So, like, I think I got asked this question the other day by somebody. I think England's got a great base for, like, education. It's a great country for all of that sort of things. I think you just got to go with the flow, but then in the future I can see myself working in maybe 6 months Dubai, 6 months here. So like a sort of mix sort of thing. Definitely I can see myself doing like 6 months Dubai or 6 months here, and just enjoy my life, enjoying sunshine, because we live in a great country, unfortunately, but I think you just gotta just enjoy yourself and just definitely 6 months Dubai, 6 months UK, then America as well. So it doesn't have to just be Dubai. I just want to travel, especially whilst I'm young, and you got commitments, but not like major commitments. You can just sort of do your thing, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people talk about Dubai to go there tax free.
Yeah,
you're a lot more safe out there. It's just be out there just doing the big things and no troubles. Is that one of the reasons why Dubai like interests you, like especially with the tax as well? Does that really...
You know what, tax? Yeah, I'll admit it. Tax is it, but because my dad's from Morocco, I have that sort of Arab background. I've always loved the culture. I've loved what they do. I love what they stand for. I love the food. My auntie lives out there, so I've also got family out there. I think it's just a mixture of everything really when it comes to Dubai. I think tax, food, lifestyle. I think you got everything there in one place. I feel like
especially out in Dubai, it's so safe out there. Like the people, even the residents, like you can leave a phone, it'll be there 2 hours later.
It's true.
You can really be out there living it up. But obviously in England, there's a lot of they say UK is bad vibes. So give some advice. Or what experiences have you had, like just being out here? Because especially with trading currencies as well, it's kind of seen as like, oh, you might have money, you may be seen as a target. How do you get around that, and how do you navigate,
like throughout all that? I think one thing, it comes down to your life experiences and who you know, especially. So like getting around that, like you can be seen to the guy that has money, but if you have money, as long as you like kind of humble with it. So especially where I grew up, it's just about respect and humbleness. So like I would never be like flashy or stunting on any of my friends or anybody within like my city, because I don't believe in that. I think that just makes you a target, and I think you'll just be an idiot for doing that. I think you just have to work your way and just adapt to environments is the biggest thing for me. So like if you're in a certain place, you gotta act a certain way in a sense, or not dress a certain way, because you always should be yourself, but just adapt to your environments, and you know where you can wear jewels, where you can't wear jewels. You know when to have money, when not to have money, when to look flashy, when not to look flashy. And I think that's the key to life is adaptation.
What do you think of posting profits like on your story and on socials? What do you think of that? Like with Forex, or you stay away from that? What do you?
I now stay away from it. At the start, like my business partner, me and Dave will always post it. Like I was always the one who's saying that don't do it, and I'll get into that why. Whereas Dave, the joker, would literally probably make like a couple bags or whatever, and then just put it on his story quickly and just
to entice people and show people I'm doing this. Like
the reason, especially I don't do it, is because we always said, like, as I said earlier, we want to attract people, especially to our course, that want to know, that want to learn the skill and master the skill, that don't want to just chase money. We understand that this can make us money, and it has made us money, but we don't want people to come on our course that just want money, because everybody that's come on and they say straight there, so when I'm going to make money, it's like, when you chase something, you're just going to be chasing. It's like a carrot, like the horse and the carrot. You're never going to get it. Whereas if you master the skill, it will come. But I personally, the only time I ever show money will ever be like in like my close friends group chat, especially not on social media, because again, like we were just talking about adaptation. When you post certain amount of profits, or when you get to a certain amount of account size, people think, okay, cool, they're going to target you. And another thing is, when I used to do, you also have like certain family members or whatever try and demand things. When yes, you're my family and I'll always help you, but it doesn't give you the right to then try and take my hard-earned work off me. So I always say private life's a humble life. And yeah, so that's literally
that's real stuff.
And like I had a mentor called Tim Katoga, and he always used to say to me, as long as you got the cash point smile, you're happy. So you just carry a cash point smile, because you know what you've made, you know what you've got in your bank account, you know what you've done, you know what you've achieved, and just carry a cash point smile, and that's it.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And to round things off, what are some pieces of advice that you can just give to the audience when it comes to trading on Forex, the currency market?
So my biggest advice that I'll give to them is, number one, it's not an easy road. Like, I know it seems like it's easy and you can just make quick profits. It's not an easy road. I think you've also got to just stay focused. So like, a lot of people will start it, and especially nowadays, because of like the crypto boom or whatever, they'll try and mix it in. Yes, they are linked in together, and like your analysis and whatnot are linked in together. But just focus on one. You don't want to be like the master of nothing. You want to be the master of one at the end of the day. And I think you've got to just master it. And that comes down to as well putting in the hours. Putting in the hours is big. Ignore the noise is another big one.
Also, as in, when you're trading, don't be looking at other people's thesis, believing you focus on your own. Don't, just because he's going short. Doesn't mean you're wrong. Like I always say, the reason we do analysis is to give ourselves the highest probability that the price is going to go in that direction.
Literally, we aren't in control of the markets. They aren't in control of the markets. Just because he's got 200k followers and his company looks like it's doing well, that doesn't mean he knows what's going on. Because more than likely, he's probably got somebody else trading that account for him in the background. So I always say, like, literally, don't listen to the noise and just do your own thing. Have that tunnel vision. But along with that, don't be stubborn. Don't think like your way is the only way. You have to adapt and seek help if you need it. And another thing is, I'd probably say it is a lonely road. It can be a lonely road, but don't be afraid to like talk to other people. And that doesn't have to be about trading. That can be about like just general life stuff, because I think you need to just kind of not be. You obviously need your focus, but you need to break that down as well and do other activities, whether that's playing football or whatever, talking to people, just to give you that break. From the charts, because you don't want to be solely focused on the charts, because your head will just go crazy. Another thing is, never think you're too old as well. So like, I've had people that have done the course and been successful. The oldest we've had was 46, a guy that was 46. There's no age limit on this. Like, the markets will be there. Yes, I said I want to stop trading at like 40, but that's just myself. Everybody has their own personal goals. But yeah, I think you just gotta worm your way through. But yeah, man.
Yeah, most def. And what's next for Sef? What projects you got coming up? What's next for you in your journey towards wealth?
So with me and my journey towards wealth, I'm just elevating now. So I've laid my foundations, stepped up a level. I just want to keep leveling up and leveling up. Like I said, Project Capital will be out soon. It's going to be a fund where anybody can invest, and we'll work their money for them. I think it's a great opportunity for people that don't have the time to trade or don't actually want to trade, but they want to get a better return on their money than the average bank does. I think next, we've got so many things coming out, whether that's like Unemployable Group. So like, even with trading brought me freedom. Now I class myself as unemployable. So like, no contract, no company, no matter what it is, can come to me and offer me anything where I'll say, okay, cool. I think my time is worth more than money now, where we have to just keep going, really. And that's why we've got Unemployable Group that's there, which is it's just helping people, whether that's managing them, whether that's football, whether that's to football agency, whether that's music management, whatever it is. We're just unemployable in many sections. And I think, so whether it's in 6 months, whether it's in a year's time, I'll more than likely will be in Dubai for 6 months here, 6 months there, just enjoy my life, and then I'll come back eventually and just settle down, have my family. But like I say, I'm investing in so many things, whether that's property, whether that's businesses, small start businesses, whether that's construction companies, whether that's, like I was saying, cryptocurrencies, the FX market. I think jewelry, watches, I think your portfolio can never be too big. But I always say master the one skill first. So like, I mastered FX first, and that's always will feed me. Whereas a lot of people will try and start something, get like 70% and think, I'm going to try something else, and then end up being the master of none. Whereas if you're the master of the one, then it will feed you for a lifetime, especially FX.
Yeah, it's wise words, man. Wise words from Sef. Sef, proper stuff, man. But bro, it was great to have you on.
Yeah, nah.
Okay.
100%. Thanks for having me on, bro.
That's good. You already know. It's Poku Banks, baby.